Welcome to the end of days, the Jewish vision of the future. Think about this. For more than 3,000 years, the Jewish imagination has wrestled with one breathtaking question. How will it all end? Not just the end of Israel's exile, not just the end of suffering, but the end of history itself. What will become of the nations? What will become of the righteous? What lies beyond the horizon of time? Truth is, the question of the end is as old as prophecy itself. When Isaiah looked to the heavens and saw swords turned into plowshares, when Daniel dreamt of beasts rising from the sea, when Ezekiel saw dry bones stir with life, they weren't just predicting doom, they were decoding destiny. You see, the prophets of Israel weren't just fortune tellers. They were moral mathematicians, calculating the balance between sin and redemption, exile and return, darkness and divine light. In the book of Daniel, written in the anguish of exile, an angel whispers,
"Go your way, Daniel, for the words are sealed until the time of the end."
The Talmud calls that time Acharit Hayamim, the end of days. It's a phrase that doesn't mean annihilation, but fulfillment, completion, the closing of the circle that began in Genesis. When the temple in Jerusalem fell in the year 70 of the Common Era, something remarkable happened. Prophecy seemingly went silent, but interpretation roared to life. The rabbis of the Talmud inherited the world's most mysterious script, and they set out to decode it. In Tractate Sanhedrin 97a, one rabbi declares,
"The world will exist for 6,000 years, 2,000 of chaos, 2,000 of Torah, and 2,000 of the days of the Messiah."
It's an audacious, cosmic timeline, kind of divine clock. And according to their math, the clock is still ticking. But not all agreed. Another rabbi warned,
"Let the bones of those who calculate the end rot."
That's a sharp rebuke against date setting. And the message? Well, don't try to guess God's calendar. Because when the Messiah comes, it's when we least expect it, or when we most deserve it. And yet, yearning never stopped. In every age of suffering, Jews looked at their world and they asked, could this be it? Could this be the time? Now, the rabbis spoke of signs, cosmic hints that history was approaching its final act. In the Midrash, they describe a world basically turned upside down.
Truth will be lacking. The youth will shame their elders. Governments will turn corrupt. And people will have no one to rely on except their Father in heaven.
Sound familiar? Some modern rabbis read those words and smile wryly, as if to say, the sages already knew about the internet. But in every generation, the signs are read anew. In medieval Spain, under the shadow of persecution, Rabbi Nachmanides wrote of the Ketz, that is, the appointed time of redemption, the end. In Poland, the Hasidic masters spoke of birth pangs, chevlei Mashiach, that is, the labor pains before the Messiah's arrival. And in Jerusalem, a young scholar named Rabbi Abraham Isaac Cook would later declare,
"The old world is crumbling, but it is crumbling toward redemption."
The end of days in Jewish thought isn't a Hollywood apocalypse. No flaming asteroids, no zombies, no nuclear infernos. It's the arrival of a person, a descendant of King David, a human being filled with divine purpose, the Messiah, HaMashiach. But who or what is he? In rabbinic tradition, the Messiah isn't a magician. He's a restorer. He gathers the exiles of Israel. He rebuilds the temple. He brings peace among the nations. The Talmud says,
If Israel is worthy, he will come on the clouds of heaven. If not, he will come as a humble man, riding a donkey.
Two visions, one triumphant, one tragic, but in tension. The mystics of the old city of Safed or Tzfat, like Isaac Luria in the 16th century, saw an even deeper story, that redemption begins within. Each mitzvah, each act of goodness or kindness releases divine sparks scattered across creation. The Messiah, they said, comes not only to us, but through us. You see, Jewish prophecy doesn't end with Israel. It ends with the world. The rabbis saw humanity as one body with many limbs, and Israel as the heart. In the book of Zechariah, we read of a time when all nations will go up to Jerusalem for the festival of Sukkot, a vision of global peace and spiritual unity. But they also foresaw struggle, the so-called War of Gog and Magog, a final convulsion of chaos before peace dawns. But who are Gog and Magog? Well, depends who you ask. In the Middle Ages, they were barbarian tribes. In the Cold War, they were superpowers. And today, well, interpretations multiply like comment threads on prophecy forums. The point, the rabbis teach, isn't to name the villains, but to recognize the pattern. Before redemption, the world trembles. There's a haunting phrase in rabbinic literature, chevlei Mashiach, the birth pangs of the Messiah. It describes a time of turmoil that precedes renewal. Wars, plagues, moral confusion, all symptoms of a world about to give birth to something greater. Rabbi Eliezer said,
Before the Son of David comes, insolence will increase. The vine will yield fruit, yet wine will be costly, and the meeting places of scholars will become places of immorality.
Well, that's not exactly cheerful, but the metaphor is powerful. Pain is not the end. Pain is the process. And every mother who's ever brought life into the world knows that agony can precede awe. The rabbis, in their own poetic way, are telling us something. History itself is in labor. Centuries later, the mystics of the Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, gave new texture to this vision. For them, the end of days wasn't only an event, it was a restoration of cosmic harmony. In Lurianic thought, creation began with divine contraction, God withdrawing to make space for existence. That contraction caused a shattering, in Hebrew, shvirat hakelim, that is, the breaking of the vessels. Our world, they said, is the aftermath of that cosmic explosion. Redemption, then, is the gathering of those shards. It's the beginning of the healing of creation. The Messiah isn't just a king, he's a cosmic healer. And the end of days isn't destruction, it's repair. The tikkun olam, meaning the repair of the world, well, that's the first step toward that final dawn. Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, the 18th century mystic, described it like this.
When the light of God will once more illuminate the universe, death itself will vanish and joy will reign eternal.
Fast forward to the 20th century. The Holocaust shattered Jewish faith in history itself. And yet, from those ashes, a new light flickered. In 1948, the State of Israel was born. And for many rabbis, this was no ordinary political event. It was the first glimmer of the Atchalta de Geulah, the beginning of redemption. Rabbi Tzvi Yehuda Kook, the son of Rav Kook, proclaimed that the return of the Jewish people to their land was itself a miracle foretold. Others were more cautious. This may be the beginning, they said, but not yet the end. Still, the pattern was clear. The ancient prophecies were stirring again. The bones of Ezekiel were rattling in the wind. So, what is the end of days, really? For the rabbis, it's not an ending, it's an unveiling. The Hebrew word olam, or world, comes from the word ne'elam, meaning hidden. You see, this world hides reality. The next world reveals it. In the world to come, the olam haba, the righteous will live in the radiance of the divine presence. Not clouds and harps, but clarity and connection. The Zohar calls it a day that is all Shabbat, a time beyond time. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai wrote,
When the Messiah arises, the whole world will taste the tree of life, and Israel will be renewed with joy.
That's the Jewish vision of the future. Not a collapse, but a completion. Not fear, but fulfillment. From the Talmudic sages to the mystics of Tzvat or Safed, from the ashes of exile to the rebirth of Israel, the Jewish vision of the future has remained astonishingly consistent. History has a direction. Suffering has a purpose. And hope is not naive, it's prophetic. Every year, Jews end the Passover Seder with the same words. Next year in Jerusalem. It's not just a prayer for geography, it's a prayer for destiny. Because Jerusalem in Hebrew means city of peace. And peace, in the Jewish mind, isn't just the absence of war. No, it's the presence of God. So when the rabbis dreamed of the end of days, they weren't waiting for the world to burn. They were waiting for it to heal. And maybe, just maybe, that's what the shofar was meant to remind us all along. Not the sound of an ending, but the call to a new beginning. In our next episode, The War of Gog and Magog, we'll explore the mysterious prophecies of the final battle, a war that spans empires, ideologies, and souls. And we'll ask the question, is it already unfolding in our own time? I'm Professor Kenneth Hanson, and I hope you've enjoyed this Jewish vision of the future. Stay tuned.